In this video, we are going to complete a Frontend mentor challenge named the notifications page. So we are going to use the HTML, CSS and a little bit of JavaScript to complete this challenge. So let's get into this and download the starter file. If you are downloading it for the first time, it can be a little bit different. You may need to log in with your GitHub account or any other type of accounts. Okay, let's download the starter file from here, and it has been downloaded. I'm going to extract this on my desktop by using WinRAR. This is kind of a free software. Okay, after extracting this, let's have a look at the design folder. So they contains the design as a JPG image. So this is the active state. So that means when we hover on that, it looks like this. Okay, this is the desktop preview and this is the mobile design. So as you can see, this is not very much defined. So what we are going to do is we are going to focus on creating the desktop preview first, then reduce the font size a little bit to fit in the mobile. Okay, so I am going to open the entire folder by using VS Code. Let's do that. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to increase the font size. We can do that by pressing Ctrl and plus in Windows. I think this is enough, or maybe okay. So I already have the live server extension installed, so we can just click the go live, and this is going to get the preview in a Google Chrome or any other browser, it doesn't matter. Let's minimize this here. Fine, now we are fine to go. Let's clean up a little bit. I'm just going to remove the style attribute and also the footer attribution. You can keep that. So let's create the markup first. So this is the markup we are going to create. Let's just minimize the image in here so you can see that. So at first let's create a container, so we can actually make it at the center by giving the container a margin auto. And we are going to put this card inside another div, maybe with a class of wrapper, so we can add the box shadow and any margin on padding we need. Okay, so let's do that. Let's create a container div, and inside the container div, let's create a wrapper div which will contain this card, the entire thing. So this is the top bar. It contains 3 items or 3 elements: the notifications text, the number and the button. So what we can do is we can use the display flex to align them properly. So let's create a div with the class of top bar. Inside the top bar, let's create another div which will contain the notification text and the number. So let's give it a class name of title. Inside it, let's use a paragraph tag with the class of maybe title text. So it will contain this text here. I'm just going to cut it and paste it inside here. Now we got to put the number, so let's use the paragraph tag with the class of number. Let's also give this ID of number. This is the 3. So I use the ID because if we go to the readme.md here, so the user should be able to distinguish between the unread and read notifications. So there is a little bit difference between the notifications in here. So the first 3 are the unread notifications, and as you can see, they got a background color and a little red dot in here, but the rest of it doesn't have it. And if we select the mark all as read button to toggle the visual state of the unread notifications and set the number of unread messages to 0. So if we click this button here, the unread notifications, the background color and this red dot should go away and it should look like the rest of the notifications, which is the red notifications. And the number of unread notifications is 3 right now, so but when we click it, it should be turned to 0. So we are going to use a little bit of JavaScript to make that happen. That's why I put an ID, so we can use the get element by ID. We can also get the DOM element by class name, but let's keep this simple. So after the title, we are going to add the button, the mark all as red. So let's use the anchor tag with the class of red, and let's also give this ID because we are going to grab this DOM element by using JavaScript as well. So let's put a hash to make it blank. Now let's grab the text and paste it inside here. So we are done for our notification top bar. Now let's move on to the next stage where we are going to add all these notifications. So inside the wrapper, after finishing up the top bar, let's create another div with the class name of notifications because that's what they are. So inside the notifications, we can use separate divs which will contain the notification, and as you can see, they are almost the same. So what we can do is we can create a notification div and we can copy that and modify it as per as our needs. Okay. So let's comment this out first. Single notification starts. And ends. If we don't comment this out, it may get messed up. So let's be safe and use the comments. So inside it, let's create a div with the class name of single box, which will contain each of the notifications in here. At first, in a separate notifications, you can see there is an avatar at the left side and the text at the right. So let's use a div with the class of avatar. So let's get the image now. The images are in the assets folder, and inside the assets folder there is a folder named image, and this is the first one. So mrcoder, this is the image, and after putting the image, we are going to add the text. So what we can do is, after finishing of the avatar div, we can create a div with the class of maybe box text. Inside it, let's use a paragraph tag with the class of notifications. Okay, I'm just going to keep it notify. Inside it, as you can see at the active stage in here, they are kind of hoverable elements, so they are the links. Okay, so we are going to use the anchor tag to add that. So let's use the anchor tag with the class name of maybe name, because that's the name of the person. Okay, the name is this one, so I'm just going to grab it, cut it and paste it here. After it, we can grab the rest of the text and paste it in here, but as you can see, the last few letters are also a anchor tag or link. So let's use another anchor tag with the class of post, so we can style it later. Now let's grab the text and paste it inside the anchor tag. So we are done with it. Now we also need to add the time. So after this paragraph tag, let's use another paragraph tag with the class of time, because that's the time. I'm just going to cut it and paste it in here. So the first notification is done. Now what we can do is we can just copy this and paste it and do our necessary modifications. So at first we need to change the image because that's not the same. This is the image, and we also need to change the time and the text. Let's just cut the name, paste it in here, but there is no second anchor tag in here, so I'm just going to remove that and replace the rest of the text. We also need to change the time as well, so just type it out. Okay, we are done with our second notifications. Now let's move on to the third one. So again, I'm just going to paste it in here. Sorry, I'm going to copy the first one because it has two links and this one has two links. Let's just paste it, use a beautify to align the codes. Okay, so this is the third notifications and we need to change the image, and this is this image. Now this is a little bit different, so what we can do is we can change the class name of the anchor tag here. So what we are going to do is let's give it a class name of group because that's what it is, group chess club. Now let's replace the text. This is kind of boring to do that. Okay, I'm just going to cut up to the chess, then just grab it, paste it inside the anchor tag. Okay, we are fine with the third notifications. Now let's move on to the fourth one, which is a little bit tricky. So this is a little bit different than the rest of it. So the top part here is the same. They got avatar at the left and the text at the right, but we also need to add a box here which will contain the text. So what I'm going to do is let's just copy the second notification because it doesn't have any second link here, and that's the same with the second notification. Let's just paste it and start with by changing the image here. So this is the image, and now let's change the text as well. I'm just going to cut it and paste it here. Okay, so we are done replacing the text. Now we have to add this here. So after this paragraph tag, let's create another div with the class of message, maybe because this is kind of a message. Now inside the message, let's use a paragraph tag again and just grab the text and paste it inside of here. Okay. So we are done with our fourth notifications. Now let's move on to the fifth one, and this is the most different thing in here. So we got a image at the right side, so we cannot use the same approach in here because we are going to use Flexbox to align these two separate elements, because in the mobile display it kind of look congested, but in the larger size of display, as you can see this. Okay, I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. This avatar and the text and the left side, and the image, this one is at the right side. So what we can do is we can put these two inside a div and this image in another element as another element. So we can apply the display flex with the container div and justify content space between to create this type of effect. Okay, but the default is going to be the same, so I'm just going to paste the same thing in here. Let's just remove the message div and let's get into that. So we are going to put these two inside a div, and let's do that. Let's create a div with the class of maybe left, because that's the left sided element, and these two elements should go inside that div. After finishing of this div, we are going to put our image. So let's create a div with the class of image box, and inside it let's put our image, which is in the assets folder, image and image chess. Okay, we are done, but we need to change the image and the text, so let's do that. This is the image. Now let's grab the text from here. Okay, we are done. Just change the date or the time and we are done with it. Okay, now the last two is almost the same, so let's grab it from the top, the second notifications, yeah, or the third one, because this is the same. Okay, I'm just going to copy this and paste it at the bottom. Now again we need to change the text and the everything else, so let's do that. This is the last one, so Nathan. Okay, this is the image and let's change the text as well. I think this is also a link. Yes, I think this is a link. So we need to put an anchor tag in here. So I'm just going to give it a class name of post, because this is a post. The post name starts from here to here, so let's just cut it and replace the chest club because that's inside the anchor tag. Let's replace the date as well, and we are done with our 6th notification. Now the last one. So again I'm just going to grab it from the second notification because that's the same, and paste it at the bottom of it. Okay, let's change the image, then the text, okay, actually I copied the wrong one. I should have copied the third notification. Now again let's use the anchor tag here. It should have a class name of group. Let's get the text and paste it inside of here. Let's change the time, and we are almost done with our process, the markup process, but we are not actually done. This actually looks like this. So there is no differentiation between the marked and unmarked notifications, so we need to put this dot somehow in here. So let's start from the top here. What we can do is we can add a separate class with it so that we can add the background color, and when we click on that we can remove the class by using the JavaScript. So this is kind of unseen notification, so we can use the class name unseen, and we are going to do the styling on here on this class, and when we click that the class should be removed by using JavaScript so that there is no background color. Also we need to put this little dot in here. So what we can do is we can put a span with the class of dot. Again we are going to use the JavaScript to remove the class to remove the styling. Also you can add a class with the anchor tag or this paragraph tag here, so we can use a pseudo element, but let's keep this simple and use the span dot here. So we are going to copy this. The first 3 is the unread notification. Let's just paste it 3 times before ending of the paragraph tag. Okay, so we should also add the class name with the second one and the third one, because these 3 has this unread styling. Now for this message, I think we should add a class with it, so that if we need to style it differently, we can do that. So with the single box, let's give it a class name up with message, so that if we need, we can do that. Now the next one is the comment. So let's add a comment class in here, and I think we are done with the markup process. Now let's move on to the next stage, where we are going to style it with CSS. At first, let's start by creating a style.css file, and then we need to link it up with the index.html. So let's do that. Link CSS. I'm just going to use the emit, and it's done. Now if we go to the readme file, readme.styleguard.md, we can see the designing or styling. So we need the font plus Jakarta sans. Okay, so let's open this up by the Google Chrome, and we can grab the font weight of 500 and 800. So you need the medium, not the italic, only the regular one, and the bold 800, sorry, extra bold. And we are going to use the import to import it in our CSS, and let's just paste the code at the top. Now then let's also copy this text in here and close this. We don't need that anymore. Now let's remove the universal margin and padding. So let's make the margin 0 and also the padding 0, and as you can see here, if we save it, it is going to get away. See, there is no margin and padding left. Now let's target the body and just paste what we have copied from the Google font. Now the font family has been changed. Okay, now let's give the body a color, and as you can see, the body got a background color of kind of grayish, while the card has the color of white. So this is the color, very light grayish blue. Let's just copy this and apply it as a background. Okay, so after that let's give it a font size, and I think they have mentioned a font size. Okay, 16 pixel. So let's use 16 pixel, and the text of the color of the text should be this dark grayish blue. So what we can do, we can just copy this and paste it in here. So that should be applied on most of the text, like this type of text. But if we need different color for text, like the anchor tag and these links and other text, we can use the class name we have given them. Now after the body, let's target the container. We are just going to use the container to make it at the center. So what we can do is we can give it a maximum height, maybe 860 pixel, and after that we can make it center. We cannot actually see that because this is so much small. I'm just going to make it large. Okay, we are going to do that later, but at first let's target the wrapper in here. For the wrapper, let's give this a background color, and the background color is white. They have also provided us with a hue color, which is ASL. This is actually white, so I'm just going to use the triple F. Now this is not at the center, right? This is at the left side. This is the default orientation. We are going to give this a margin from top and bottom. Let's use 80 pixel because there will be a little bit gap at top and bottom, but from left to right let's use auto. That will make it centered. Okay, with the wrapper we have added the background color. Now let's use some padding in here. So for the padding, let's use 40 pixels at the top, and from left and right let's use 30 pixels, and bottom we don't need any, so let's use 0. We need the top for this space in here. Okay, now let's also add a margin, so we can if we reduce it like this, sorry, okay, there is no gap at the left and right, so if we apply a margin here, there will be a little bit gap. I'm going to again make it smaller so we can see it properly. Okay, let's also add a border radius of maybe 15 pixels to make the corners rounded, because in the design you can see the corners are a little bit rounded. Now we can also add a little bit of box shadow. Let's use 0 pixels, which is the X and Y orientation. Let's use 26 pixels, then minus 13 pixels, and let's use the black color. So let's use the odd wrap, which is Alt Z. Okay, so black is 0 0 0, and the opacity let's use 0.26. Let's save, and this got a nice box shadow. I got the value from the box shadow generator website. I think that's called CSS Matrix or something like that. So now let's target the top bar and design it. So in the top bar we want the display to be flex, so we want this two at the left side and this one at the right side, right? So let's use the display flex, then justify content space between. Sorry, I got the spelling wrong, that's why it was not showing anything. Now they are the different side of this line. Let's also use the align items center to make it at the center orientation. Let's also give it a margin bottom to create some gap with the notifications. Let's use 30 pixels because we got 30 pixels gap at the top. After that, let's target these two here, the title. So let's target the title class and give this again a display of flex and align item center. Fine. Now let's target the title text. So it got a paragraph tag with the class name of title text. Let's give this a color, and we are going to grab the color from here. So this is the very dark blue color. This is the dark blue color, so I'm just going to paste it in here. Let's make it visible. After that, let's increase the font size a little bit to 28 pixels, and we also need to use the font weight. So we have imported 500 and 800. We are going to use the bold on the 800. So we are done with our title text. Now let's target the paragraph tag with the class of number, which is the number of the notification. So its color should be white. I think so. This is white, but the background color is a little bit different. We cannot see it because the wrapper got the background color of white as well. So what we can do is we can give it a background color now to make it visible. Okay, I think this is the blue color. So let's just copy it and paste it. Now we can see that. After that, let's apply a little bit of padding from top and bottom. Let's use 3 pixels and left to right 12 pixels. Okay, it looks great, but we also need to add a border radius to make the corners rounded. Fine. Now let's also make this bold by using font weight of 800. Now it's bold. Let's create some gap with the notifications text. So what we can do is we can give it a margin left of maybe 5 pixels. Now it looks better. Now let's target this button in here. So it is the anchor tag with the class of read. So let's use the text decoration none, so it will remove the back underline decoration. Color, let's grab the color. Okay, this is the grayish blue one. Okay, grayish blue. So let's paste it here and let's increase the font size to 18 pixels. Okay, now it looks great. We are going to add the hover effect or active state later. Now let's move on to the main part, which is the notifications. So we are going to target the single box div which will contain each of the notifications in here. So at first let's add a padding. Let's use a padding of 17 pixels, and after that let's also add a margin to create a gap between the notifications. So we only need the margin at top and bottom, not from the left and right, so we can just add on value and another one should be 0. Okay, looks fine. Now let's give it a display of flex because we need to align the image at the left and the text at the right, and it should be aligned at the center, otherwise it looks weird. So align items should be center. Okay, fine. Now let's move on to the next one. So the first tones, which is the unseen, we got a class of unseen. We are going to add the background color with that. So let's target the single box with the class of unseen and give this a background color. So we are going to grab the very light grayish blue color from here and paste it. Okay, now it looks better, but we also need to add a border radius to make the corners rounded. So let's use 10 pixel. Now let's target the image, the avatar image. So it got a class name of avatar and image. Let's give it a specific height of 50 pixels, otherwise it's too big. After that, let's give it a margin right to create some gap with the text. Let's use 15 pixels and it looks better. Okay, we are done with the image. Now let's target the anchor tag with the name, which is each of this name in here. So it got a text decoration of underline, which is all anchor tag by default does. So we are going to use text decoration none. Actually we can do it a little bit easily. So let's just use the anchor tag and make the text decoration none. Then we are going to use the anchor tag with the class name of name and let's change the color. So as per the design, this color contains I think very dark blue. So this is the same color as these notifications. Let's just paste it in here and make it bold by using font weight 800. Okay, fine. We're going to add the hover effect later. Let's use the anchor tag with the class of post, which is this one. So it doesn't have any underline because we have omitted the text decoration, but we need to change the color. So let's do that. this is the dark grayish blue, because as you can see this is kind of lighter than this one. Now let's target the anchor tag with the class of group, which is this one. I'm just going to change the font weight here, nothing else, to 800, because this is how it looks like. I think this should also be bold, the post. So let's use a font weight of 800 to make that bold. Fine, now we are good. Now let's add the hover effect with each of these. So we are going to target the anchor tag with the name, hover, then just put a comma, paste it a few times because there are lots of groups to cover. Now we got the post, then group, then also this one, so it got the name of read, the class name. Okay, we are going to apply hover effect to all of that. So let's give it a color of, okay, let's search for it. Okay, this is the blue color. Now we are fine with it. Okay, I think it looks perfectly fine and goes with the design, the active state, which is this one. Now we are going to design the dot, the red dot here, which is added with the active or unseen notifications. So let's use the span, which is actually with the class of dot. So let's give it a display inline block, give this a background color. I think they have given us the background color, which is red. Let's just copy it and paste it in here. We cannot see it, so we need to give it a height of maybe 9 pixel, height of 9 pixels, and also we need a border radius to make it completely circle, so 50%, not 500%, and this looks fine. Now let's give it a margin left of 7 pixels to create some gap with the text, and we are done with it. Okay, so now let's style the different type of notifications here, like this one. This kind of looks not okay. So what we need is we need to give this a padding and a border all around it. So it got a class name of message, I think so. Okay, this is the one, so I'm just going to grab it and paste it in here. Let's give this a border of 2 pixels solid, and we are going to grab the color from here. This is the light grayish blue. Okay, it looks fine, but we need to add a padding. Let's apply 12 pixels padding all around it. Let's apply a font size of 18 pixels. It will be a little bit bigger. We are going to add a margin top of 13 pixels to create some gap here, and also a border radius to make the corners rounded. So let's use 5 pixels. Okay, it looks fine, but I think there is an issue because it is at the top. Now it has been in the same Flexbox. So what we can do is we can just cut it and paste it after the box text. Sorry, doesn't work. But I think we can make it work. So we have added a class of with message. Let's just target that. This is the default flex property. So we have added we have given this the display flex and align items at the center, so they are at the center orientation. But in this case, for this particular div, we don't want that to be aligned center. We want it to be aligned start, the start of the div or the box. So we are going to target that, and let's give this align items and flex start. I think that will fix it, and it does. If you want to learn more about the flex, I got a 13-minute video in the YouTube channel. You can go check that out. You will find the link in the description below. Okay, now let's move on to this one, which looks kind of messy. So it got the class name of left, and we are going to apply display flex on it, and then align items center. So now it is fixed. Now we also need to work on that. So we are going to target the single box with the class of comment. We have given this the class name of comment here, this one. And again we are going to use the display. Actually the single box div already got a display flex property. We don't need to add that again. We're just going to change the justify content to a space between, and it's fixed. So the rest of it looks fine. I think I should add a little bit of padding at the bottom. So let's just remove it, and actually that's more. There is no padding at the bottom, so let's go back to 0. It should be 0. Now it looks fine. So for a smaller size display, okay, the image is kind of bigger. What we can do is we can target that image as well. So they got a box, image box div, then image. Let's give this a height of maybe 50 pixels. Okay, it will make it smaller. Fine. But for a small size display, let's see how that looks. Okay, it looks kind of messy. So what we're going to do is we are just going to reduce the font size a little bit, nothing else, because the structure is the same. Now let's target the media only screen, and with the max height of maybe 600 pixels. Let's target the body. We got a font size of 16 pixels there, but now we are going to reduce it to 14 pixels. Let's reduce the line height to 1.4. Actually I increased the line height because the text size has been smaller. Now let's target the container and reduce the margin to half. We got a margin of 50 pixels maybe. Let's use a margin of 20 pixels at the top and bottom. Sorry, we need to put margin first. 20 pixels and auto, because we need it to be at the center. Now after the container, let's target the wrapper and give this a margin of 10 pixels. Okay, fine, it looks better. Now let's reduce the padding also a little bit. 25 pixels at the top, left and right maybe 15 pixels, bottom 0. Okay, it looks tolerable. Now let's use the title text. Okay, we are going to reduce the font size a little bit, maybe 20 pixel. After that, let's target the number and reduce the padding, because this box kind of looks bigger. So let's use 1 pixels and 10 pixels. Reduce the margin left also, maybe 5 pixel. Okay, it is a little bit smaller. After the number, we are going to target the anchor tag, which is this one. So it is the anchor tag with the class of read. Let's use the font size to 15 pixels. And now everything else is okay except this text. So we are going to target that. So it got a class name of message with the paragraph tag. So at first we are going to reduce the font size to 14 pixels. Let's reduce the margin top, I think, or let's first reduce the padding to 9 pixel. I think we should reduce it even more, like 13 pixels, and we cannot see any difference in here. I think something is wrong. Okay, this is actually div. So we are going to target the message and paragraph tag. Now we should change. Okay, it's okay. So we are going to increase it a little bit to 14. Padding 9 pixels is okay. So this is the design, and I think we should be satisfied with the style. Now let's move on to the JavaScript and make it functional. So when we are going to click it, we are going to remove this dot class, this unseen class, and make it 0. So let's create by starting a script.js file, and we have to link it with the index.html. So we are going to do that at the bottom of it. So before finishing the body tag, let's use the script search and script.js. Now let's go into the script.js. At first we are going to target only on DOM element, which is this one. So let's use a let mark. We can name it whatever you want. So let's use button. And document dot get element by id. We got this a class name of id name of read and also a class name of read. After that we are going to add a event listener with it. So let's target the button with the add event listener, and the event is the click. So when we are going to click on it, something is going to happen. So this is the arrow function, and inside the function let's grab another element, which is the single box div, and we are going to get through the class list of it and remove the unseen class. So document dot query selector all, because there are lots of elements, like 3 different div with the class name of single box who got this unseen class. So we are going to use the query selector all. This is going to select all the div with the class name of single box, and we are going to run a for each loop, otherwise it will not work. So for each, let's use the event and then again arrow function. So we are going to target the class list. So if you don't understanding what is happening, I can help you. Let's just make it smaller and open the console. Okay, this is our console. So what we can do is we can console.log the event. Let's save. Nothing's happened, but if we click it, as you can see, we can get all the events from here. So we are going to run a loop for all of this through all of these divs here, and we are going to filter out the divs which got this unseen class. Okay, so how we can do that? We can actually do it very easily. So we are going to target the class list of all these elements in here. So this is the entire element. We don't own the entire element, we just own the class list. So let's grab the class list, and if we again click it, this is going to get the class list. So this is the class single list unseen. Now what we are going to do is we are going to remove the class name of unseen. Okay, so this is going to go through all this class list, and whenever it says a unseen class, this is going to remove it. So with the unseen class we have added the background color, so that should be removed. Okay, so use the event and the class list dash remove. So we are going to use the remove method to remove a class. The class name is unseen and it should do that arc. Let's just click here and it's gone. Okay, the background color is gone, but we also need to remove the dot as well. So this is kind of the same. What we can do is we can just copy this and paste it. Now in this time we are going to go through the dot class and we are going to remove the class name of dot. Let's save and click it. Now the dots are gone too. Now we also need to make it 0. So how we are going to do that? Fine, let's grab it. Document dot get element by id. We got this id name of number, and we are going to target the inner text, not the HTML, and make it 0, and we are done. Let's save and see. So if we click it, it should be 0. The background color is gone, the red dots are gone. So this was our project, and if you are interested in more Frontend Mentor challenges like this one, you can go check this out. Just click on the card here and you will see another project we have covered in this YouTube channel.